Hi, in this video I'll now try to provide you a solution to question number from problem set 2, question number 7C. This is because the type of solution may not be clear or may not be useful at all. So I decided to record the solution and I'll upload this on YouTube channel. So let's read this. So consider the market for smartphones. Initially the market demand for these phones is given as, so this is the demand function, as P equal to 500 minus the slope here times Q, and the market supply for these phones is given as P equal to 0.005 Q. Now, given this information, what is the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity of the smartphones in this market? So we really need to solve A first to do C, this question. So let's do the A first. Now, we know that price here is equal to 500, so this is the demand function, notice this, Q, and supply is given by this function. So there is no intercept value here, like in demand function there is no intercept in the supply function. Let's put this S, this D, just for our own purpose, for clarification. So now to find the equilibrium price and quantity, we as usual equate these prices. Well, obviously prices are equal in equilibrium, so that would give us 500 minus 0.005 quantity demanded equals 0.005 quantity supplied. Now quantity supplied and quantity demanded in equilibrium is equal to some Q, let's say. So in that case 500 minus 0.005, I just replace that D by Q, 0.005 Q. Now collecting the terms terms with Q into one side and collecting the constants onto the other side, we'll get this solution. So this will be 0.01 Q, so it's the sum of the two. So if I take this to the left side, or in other words if I subtract 0.005 Q from both sides, I get this value. And if I subtract 500 from both sides, I will get both sides of the equation, I will get 500 minus on this side. And dividing both sides by -1, I will have, so I'm just trying to simplify this to make it much easier to follow. Now dividing both sides by 0.01 gives us what? 50,000. So this is the quantity, equilibrium quantity, 50,000. Now next, wait a second, did I say 50,000? So it's 5,000, yes. Now price at this point will then be, if you just plug this value into either of these functions, you get the same prices. So let's do the easier one. So supply function here, plug this quantity into Q sub S, that gives us, so 3 zeros cancel out basically with this multiplication. 5 times 50 is 250. So this is the quantity, sorry, price, equilibrium price. Okay, we've done this now, so let's go on to C now. Let's leave this whole thing B for you to do, so it's an easy one. Now suppose that tastes and preferences for smartphones changes so that at every price an additional 20,000 phones are demanded. So at every price an additional 20,000 phones are demanded. There are no changes in the market supply curve, so there is no change in the market supply curve, so suppliers still produce the same amount. Now given this information, what is the new equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity of smartphones in this market? So now what we need here is a graphical solution here. So let's erase everything. How do I delete all? Delete all. Done. We know what the quantities are, so I'll just draw the supply and demand curves. so P and Q as usual, and notice that the supply function is this. So there is no intercept value here basically. So the intercept is at 0. So if I draw it, it will look like this, something like this. So that's supply. Now demand function was 500 minus 0.005 Q demand, yeah, originally. Now this is going to be somewhere here, crossing the price line at $500, sorry, pounds, and it looks like this here, and this is demand, and this point here is 50,000 smartphones at 250. If you remember, these are equilibrium price and quantity that we calculated. Now if you look back, it says, now suppose that tests and preference smartphones changes so that at every price an additional 20,000 phones are demanded. So additional 20,000 phones are demanded. So tests are moving the demand curve to the right by 20,000 units. Yeah, so that means it will be a parallel shift and nothing is changing. So it's going to be parallel shift to the right. So we can have that curve here. So this is our new curve. This is our new demand. Let's call this demand prime. And at every price there are additional 20,000 units. So that means at 250 now, the additional 20,000 will be somewhere here. This would be 70,000. So this is not equilibrium quantity. It was on the previous equilibrium. Now current equilibrium quantity and price is this point here. So this is the point we are interested in. So this is the point we are interested in, and this is the point now we are interested in. New equilibrium points. So it's not simply 50,000 added 20,000 giving us 70,000. No, it's obviously, you can see the shift creates another equilibrium point. As a result, we have a different QE. To solve this, we have to do a little bit of calculus and algebra here. Now the way we solve it is this. What we know here is this. Now the crossing point of demand curve is now shifted to this, has now shifted to this point, and I can call this point, basically this point could be called 500, which is the original point, plus some value, let's say B. So plus B, let's call this plus B. So this point is 500 plus B here. And also if I continue this here, and if I continue this, we also had shift here as well on the Q, so x-axis, right? So the increase in quantity. So remember, from this point to this point is, as we know, is 20,000 units. That was the increase, right? Because it's a parallel shift. So all we need to find is this point. What is this point? At this point, as you can see, the demand curve at this point will have a coordinates of some quantity but zero price. At this point, price is 0. So we can find this quantity by plugging values of P into this equation. So we take that equation, P equals 500 minus 0.005 Q. And remember, at this point, for example, if you evaluate this function at this point, we have price 0, so this is 0 equals 500 minus 0.005 Q. Now quantity at this point then will be, if you solve this equation, you will have 0.005 equals 500. So this is a Q here. Now Q is what? 500 over 0.005. This leaves us with 500,000 over 5, which is then 100,000. So the quantity here, this quantity point, is 100,000. Now because we shifted shifted the demand curve because of taste changes by 20,000. So this point here now is 120,000. So this is the point where price is 0, but with the new demand curve, the crossing point of Q and demand curve is 120,000. So we have now enough information to, I think, to find this point here, so that we can then identify or determine what this function is. So this function is another demand curve, but remember, it shifted by 20,000. So we have this sort of new intercept, which is this value here, plus, oh sorry, minus 0.005 Q. So this is the only this is the new function, basically demand function, but we don't know what B is at the moment, so we're solving it by just using algebra and calculus rules. So we know the crossing points here, intersections where horizontal axis demand curve intersects horizontal axis, and that's 120,000. Now we can try this. Now we can plug that value, for example, into, let's say, if we can look at this, let me have a look. So if we plug that 120,000 into the old demand curve, what will it give us? At that point we can work out. So let's go back. So we know that this is our new demand curve. We also have a point here with the proper coordinates. The coordinates of this point are 120,000 and 0. So basically 120,000 is the quantity and 0 is the price value here, y-axis. So we can use these coordinates in the new demand curve. So price equals 500 plus B minus 0.005 Q. Now we know what the Q is, and we also know what P is. Price at this point now is 0, so it's 0 equals 500 plus B minus 0.005. Q is now 120. That's our new curve, intersecting point. Now working and solving for B, it gives us B equals minus B here, because we're taking this to the left hand side of the equation. It gives us minus, this times that gives us 600. So minus B is equal to minus 100. B is basically 100. Now given this, now our new demand function is now plugging B into this is 600. So 500 plus B, that's B was equal to 100, so that's 600 minus 0.005 Q. So this is our new demand curve. So this black line here, the shifted line, is 600 minus 0.05 Q, is the new demand curve. Now if you go back to see, it says what's the new equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity in the market. So in that case, we just have to now, it's a messy solution, we just have to now equate the new function, a new demand function, with the old. Actually, I don't have space here, so I'm going to clean this up a little bit. If we clean this up a little bit, we may eventually have a better space, so more space. So let's say I can get rid of this part, right? And also I just need to go back and get my pen now. Right, so now equilibrium. So our new demand function is 600 minus 0.005 Q, and price is 0.005 Q. Sorry, supply function is. Equating these two gives us 600 minus 0.005 Q equals 0.005 Q. So this is quantity demanded, this is quantity supplied, demand, supply. and they are equal, so we can sum them up. We will then have 0.01. When you take this to the other side of the equation, it becomes positive, so this 2 adding up 0.01 basically equals to 0.01. And I just keep kind of not determine. Basically, if you remember, quantity demanded, quantity supplied is equal at equilibrium, then that's also equal to some Q, because they will equal. I mean, both of them have the same value, so we just decided to put a simple Q here rather than QS and QDIM. And it may confuse as well. So Q is then 600 over 0.01. That is basically 60,000. So this is our new equilibrium. So when the demand curve shifted to the right, the new quantity is 60,000 here. Now how about new price? This price here, it wasn't 500, it was something else obviously. So new price. Now again I need some space, so I'm going to go and delete some of his selections. Select. So selector. I'm gonna delete this part again. Right, now again get my pen. We might have already worked out what the P is, but just want to show you step by step again. So we will use the supply function, which is the easier one to deal with. We know the quantity as well. That was 60,000. So price is then 0.005 times 60,000 equals 300 now. Yeah, so that 3 zeros go basically with this, and then 5 times 60 gives us this. So a new price is 300. New equilibrium price is 300 pounds. Done. So that's the solution. It's a bit calculation intensive, but it's not difficult if you think about the. I mean, if you just work out how to get the B here, and that's all we needed was this intersection here, the point coordinates of this intersection. So that's it for now. So hopefully this video is useful. See you in the class now.